A village woman named Aria fetches water mid-morning in the desert sands of Canaan. She dips her bucket into the river and heaves it up full, feeling the icy droplets splash on her bare feet. Resting the bucket atop the sand-ridden grounds, she stares at the blood-red sky where her dead ancestors' spirits laid in rest. Her eyes widen and her jaw drops. A single twinkling white light dances from up high. It's small next to the sun and circular in shape. She squints. What in heaven is this? In an instant, the orb magnifies in size and blocks out the sun. The white light intensifies and her eyes burn like drywood in a forest fire. Aria turns away, but again forces her eyes onto the source. Is that you, ancestors? Her voice is shrill. Then Aria screams from the burning pain. Ashamed, she turns away. Sweat races down her back, and her hands start to shake. She thinks, these are not my ancestors calling me. She tries to run, but her body resists. Every muscle is tied in knots. Someone had restricted her movements. Tears stream down her cheeks. What do you want from me? A memory of her two sons, Jace and Tetra, playing in the sands flashes before her eyes. Aria wonders, am I going to die? Her breath becomes short. The white light engulfs her, and her entire world disappears. Aria is back home. She examines the holes scattered along her living room wall. Lightheaded and confused, she scans the area. Only a ripped couch atop dust-covered floors fills the room. All was silent, except for a soft chatter that echoed throughout the house. Perhaps it's mice running, she thinks, but the noise doesn't sound like any animal she knew. She presses each foot forward, one at a time. Her breath becomes hush. The chatter seems to be coming from the kitchen. She tiptoes further and is certain of the noise's origin. A table lies at the center of the kitchen, with 4 chairs around it. 2 of the chairs face her and are empty. Coming closer, the chatter seems to be coming from the 2 chairs facing away. She gulps. Hello? There's no response. Is anyone there? The chatter quickens. Jace? Tetra? Is that you? Rubus, are you here too? Again, only chatter. Her heart beats like a hammer on concrete. Will someone please answer me? She walks around the table to face the culprit. Aria's face turns white, and the 2 chairs were skeletons of her baby boys. Both of them were bare to the bone. Not a sliver of flesh was left on each of the tiny skeletons. Their gaunt, hollow sockets, where their eyes used to be, bored into hers like black voids. That's when she realized where the noise was coming from. These skeletons were not lifeless, not entirely. Both of their bony chins moved up and down in the gnashing and grinding of teeth. She backed away until against the wall. Jace? Tetra? Is that you? Again, the chatter becomes faster. Their jaws blur with speed, as if trying to tell her something. It can't be. She slams her fists into the wall. Not my babies. Aria runs out the room and then out the door. Her eyes dart as she sprints across the village, but there's no one in sight. The village is empty. Everyone's gone. Then, in the distance, she makes out the figure of a man she knows. Sprinting toward him, tears drip down her eyes and are cast out by the wind. He's a heavy-set man, wearing a brown cloak, fashioning a thick gray beard. It's Rubus. Aria grabs him by the shoulders. What did you do to them, Rubus? She shakes him like a rag doll, but he never meets her eyes. She slaps him, Answer me, you insufferable tub of lard! Rubus's gaze turns to her, and she meets his icy blue eyes. His voice is deep and crisp. What will you do? Your children are watching. What? Aria tries shaking him again, but the man is no longer limp. He's focused on her. What will you do? Your children are watching. What will you do? Your children are watching. What will you do? Your children are watching. His chant grows louder. She lets go and turns around, only to find the skeletons of her 2 children standing there, watching her. The chatter of their teeth is louder and faster than ever. Rubus leans in close behind her, and in her ear he whispers, "What will you do? Your children are watching." Aria opens her eyes. She's back in the desert, lying beside the bucket of water. After a new breath of air, she rises. Threading her hands through her hair, she whispers, "Thank you, spirits." Aria reaches for the bucket, but before she has it, she hesitates. Should I take it back? She wonders. After a moment or so, Aria grabs it and takes it back with her to the village. She stands before her home and gazes at the front door. The house's paltry order makes her stomach churn. Raising a shaky hand, she presses against the door. It creaks open and reveals her living room. The lighting is dim, but she makes out Rubus sitting in a chair facing her. He holds a pipe in one hand and stares off into the distance. On the floor are dozens of empty bottles, cans, and a flurry of layered garbage. "Looks like the bitch is back." Rubus puffs out a cloud of smoke. She shuts the door behind her. "Where are the boys?" Aria grips the bucket handle tight. "You mean the brats?" He cackles and then coughs. "Bring me my water first. It's hot in here." Aria forces her legs forward. She's nauseated by the stench of the man. Rubus swipes the bucket from her hands and dunks his face in. She watches him devour the liquid like a dog. Aria blows out a breath. "Jace, Tetra, Mommy's home. You can come out now." Rubus lifts his head from the bucket. "I wouldn't bother with them if I were you." She points a finger at him. "What did you do?" His eyebrows furrow. "Watch who you're talking to. I run this joint. You're my bitch. You hear?" Soft footsteps patter through the halls, and out from those shadows comes Jace and Petra. Aria's eyes widen. Both of her 2 boys cradled their jaws with their tiny hands. Petra's jaw was shifted unnaturally to his left side, while Jace's jaw was flung to his right. She rushes to the both of them. Kneeling down, Aria hugs them tight. "I'm so sorry, my little ones." She could feel them wince as their jaws brush against her shoulders. "Mommy loves you. I'm sorry, so sorry." Neither said a word. Aria wondered if they could talk at all. Rubus drops the bucket. "You women are so emotional." He cracks his knuckles. "Your stupid brats were mouthing off, so I had to bust their jaws open." Rubus shrugs. "Seems fair to me." Aria stands and faces Rubus. Her fists were clenching so tight she could swear they were bleeding. Rubus grins. "You're so cute when you're mad. Honey, we both know you're not going to do a thing." She looks at Rubus and then down at Jace and Petra, standing quiet with their broken jaws. He was right in a way. She had let this man walk all over her for years just to pay the bills. She thinks, "I have been his bitch, haven't I?" A pile of cotton catches in her throat. "How will they eat?" Her voice cracks. "Huh?" Rubus raises a brow. Aria takes a breath. You broke their jaws. They can't chew, so how will they eat?" Rubus laughs. "Not my problem. Now clean this mess up and make me dinner." He looks down at the children. You see this, kids? I'm in charge. Your mother's my bitch. Isn't that right, Aria? Aria's jaw tightens as she feels the eyes of her children watch her every move. Tension dispels from her fists. Yes, dear. Aria lowers her head. Good. Very good. Rubus coos and makes Aria's skin crawl. She drops to her hands and knees and begins to pile items. Rubus smokes his pipe and stares off into space. Between items, Aria shoots looks at her children and examines their deformed jaws. She takes notes of the angle with which they're broken and begins to sift through items faster. A bottle here, a wrapper there, then a pipe. Yes, a pipe. Pretending to work, she slides her fingers underneath it. The metal is thick and heavy. She wraps her hands around it and realizes the pipe is thick as a baseball bat. Perfect. She stands with the pipe and swings. Rubus raises a hand, but it's too late. She smashes the pipe into his face, and he falls to the ground with a thud that shakes the house. Aria seizes the opportunity. She stands over him and smashes the pipe into his head over and over again. Blood stains the metal, and it is only then she is confident that she's doing this right. An ear-to-ear grin spreads across her face as the man she knew as Rubus begins to resemble squashed tomatoes. Slowly but surely, the words of her ancestors come back to her. What will you do? Your children are watching. Right before delivering the killing blow, Aria whispers, "Thank you, ancestors."